My god, people, it's happening. What is up, guys? This is Cobb. Grim Forest is released, and it is time to draft a badass deck for taking on this new, almost like roguelike kind of game mode going on inside of Raid. I'm currently on hard mode difficulty in my Grim Forest settings, and so I'm going to be drafting a couple of decks here, but what I'm going to be doing in this video is suggesting all kinds of roles of champions that you want to bring along and draft into your decks inside of Grim Forest. These things are going to be key for success. I might miss a couple of roles. If I do, please do correct me down below in the comments, but a lot of these are going to be tools that you really want to bring to beat the 5 new unique bosses that are going to be popping up inside of Grim Forest. Let's do this. Before we get to all of that and more, if you're looking to create a new Raid Shadow Legends account, there has never been a better time, man. The beginner promo link that's down below this video at the top of the description box offers you Tholin Foulbeard as your standard legendary champion, as well as 4 free epic champions as you level up your account. And don't forget that Xenomorph is the Logan Reward legendary champion, but only for a limited time. So go ahead and click on that link down below this video and use that link to create your new Raid account right now for the ultimate start to your new free-to-play adventure. This is the way that I used to create my own new free-to-play account that I'm going to be using for 2026. So if you want to play along with that free-to-play series, that beginner promo link is the way to get it done. So when setting up your decks, it's important to know that you'll only be able to use a small amount of champions from each deck randomly chosen during each stage of Grim Forest. It means that you're going to have to pick multiple of the same role, right? Key roles like HP burners, increased speed champions, 10-meter boosters for beating the final boss, whose name is Lashun, and he is to be feared, right? You gotta pick multiple of these roles, just in case you just draw badly from your decks, right? There's a bit of a random element to Grim Forest, which is kind of what makes it exciting. That said, first and foremost, damage dealers that can pop off against waves and against bosses. I'd recommend that you go ahead and pick at least 3 or 4 just damage dealer specialists that are going to be great against bosses and great against waves. For example, Thor over here, amazing AoE damage as well as a decreased speed debuff on an AoE. Tholin Foulbeard, whoops, who I just clicked off the other team, brings a weakened debuff as well as amazing AoE damage. So both pretty solid damage dealers to take into bosses and into wave content alike. And of course, one thing I would warn away from is picking champions like Crocad. Champions that are kind of very reliant on having their teammate, right? In this case, you would be pairing up a Crocad with a Packmaster Shayak. Yeah, you're almost definitely not going to get like your partnership champions, like your Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, for example, paired up in the same team. It's very unlikely that you're going to get to draft into those guys, and so be very careful with champions that are only good when paired up as a duo. And so for me, I think this is what my pure damage dealer bunch is going to look like on either side of my deck. So 3 or 4 nukers, in this case, per deck, because I'm on hard mode. If you're on normal mode and you're setting up your Grim Forest deck, then you're only picking 1 batch of champions, and so makes it a bit easier. Next, highest priority role, Speed Aura champions. Again, 3 or 4 per deck, right? Speed Auras are the best auras in the game pretty much, so I'm going to go ahead and take my... This is going to be Speed Auras in all battles as well, by the way, just to be clear for any new players watching who might not be super clear on that. You're looking for Speed Auras that are active in all battles, right? So I'm going to go ahead and throw some Speed Aura lead champions on either side as well. I guess we can go ahead and get like a Glycad going on this side before the Nekmo Thar on the side. Great support champion on deck number 2. I tell you what, I think I'm actually going to move the Fushan onto the other side over here, and then we're going to take instead the Preva on this side. So we've got like another healer reviver, kind of increased speed booster over on this side. And I think we'll finish things up with Stock the Broken and a Deacon Armstrong on our right side deck. Damage healers, speed aura leads, covered. Next up, dedicated 10-meter booster champions. Again, I'd recommend 3 or 4 of these on each side of the deck. Now, you also notice at this point in your draft, you probably notice that you've already got Deacon Armstrong here on this far side, who's bringing a little bit of 10-meter boost. We've got a bit of 10-meter boost from the Glycad over here, a bit of 10-meter boost from the Nekmo Thar, from the Lazarius, right? And so you're going to start to get some overlap between these roles. And so you can also take that into account, right? So maybe I'll need to pick really 2 or 3 for each side, because we already already got those roles somewhat covered. We can throw the Estrid onto this side. You know what, man? For the right side over here, 10-meter booster, I'm actually going to bring along Donatello. I think Donatello is actually so good as a standalone turtle. He doesn't even need any of the other turtles in the draft, you know? In fact, now I think of it, honestly, Leonardo, Mikey, and Donatello are all so good. You could probably fit those 3 turtles in. The only one that I wouldn't really recommend is probably the Raphael out of the turtles, if you're going to include those. Ooh, I almost forgot. We've got to get the Lamassu in there. She's only level 50 right now, but I am going to be sort of building her up over time as well. Next role that we want to be covering is going to be the HP burner role. Again, I'd recommend at least 2 of these per deck. HP burn is absolutely crucial for taking on, I forget the boss's name, Drogul or something like that, as well as the final boss, Leshun. And so HP burn isn't great for damage necessarily going into most of the bosses inside of Grim Forest, but it is great for disabling certain of their key mechanics. And so Geomancer is going to be great. Special shout out to any HP burn champion that doesn't attack in and then place an HP burn. You're looking for HP burners that place HP burn debuffs. Those are typically going to be better for the job against just most bosses in general because of Poison Cloud and Self-Cleanse mechanics that some of these bosses have. Call me an absolute madman. I'm going to go ahead and bring along a Mordecai in one of my decks here just for that place HP burn debuff, even though he's only 4 stars right now, you know, so I'm going to have to work on him kind of in the meanwhile. Oh yeah, and just a quick note that champion filters are going to be your best friends for looking for certain champions that bring certain debuffs to the table and stuff like that. Yeah, use your champion filters. I'm just for some reason I'm just now figuring this out, you know. Let's go ahead and throw the ninja in here as well. He doesn't place HP burn, but I think he's still just such a good boss killer HP burner champion that he's going to be good for us to bring along. And we'll go along and drop in Searsha as well as like the ultimate, you just pay to win HP burner champion. Let's be real, man. Okay. I will say as well, it's like towards the end of this video, I'm going to pop up on screen all of the champion roles that I included in this roster and the key roles that I really focused on putting into this roster. If you just want like a big TLDR towards the end of the video a little bit. The next role that we're going to make sure that we are taking care of is going to be debuff cleansers. There's multiple bosses inside of Grim Forest where you got to be cleansing debuffs like clockwork, right? And so some of the best of those are going to be Mithrala can definitely find a place on one of the teams. We can also go ahead and grab the Doom Priest. She's going to be just very, very solid as a debuff cleanser option into many of the bosses as well. Very, very reliable debuff cleanse, especially against things like Provoke, which are going to be a big thing, and True Fear that we're going to have to deal with. Another MVP champion and debuff cleanser to bring in to Grim Forest, if you have him, is going to be Inquisitor Shamail. Inquisitor Shamail is, of course, a damage dealer, but he completely takes care of True Fear debuffs, which are going to be a massive problem for you against one particular boss inside of Grim Forest, where if you don't have a way of consistently dealing with True Fear via a Doom Priest or via a Shamail, if you can and if you have him, you're going to run into some big problems there. And so we're going to use the filters just to track down just one more maybe debuff cleanser, just per faction. You could also use block debuffs champions as well. Okay, we've got to throw the Mikage in here as well. In fact, instead, I think I will actually just look up a couple of block debuffs buff champions, so a little bit of this action. So we can bring along, I guess, like the Freya on this side, Sepulchre Sentinel over here. Now we're gonna make sure that we have enough increased speed champions on either side, which I think we do. I've got multiple, I think I've got 2 on each side here, roughly, of increased speed buffer champions, but we are missing a Lydia, so I'm gonna go ahead and throw her into the draft as well. As for decreased speed debuffer champions, decreased speed is not that effective against most of the bosses inside of Grim Forest until you get to the last boss. Then it becomes absolutely massive. In fact, 2 of the tools that are very strange to bring into Grim Forest that I want you to pay very close attention to in your draft in the final 4 or 5 picks for your draft and for your deck is going to be freeze debuffs and decreased speed debuffs, right? Make sure that you're bringing at least 3 or 4 if you're in hard mode difficulty, or just 2 or 3 if you're in normal mode. Decreased speed debuff for champions, 30% version. It's going to be useful against the final boss. But there is also one of the bosses in Grim Forest where you can freeze the boss And it's massively, massively important that you do, otherwise you're just going to have a really, really terrible time of it. Okay, so make sure that you bring in some powerful freeze champions as well. It just happens that your Karl the Scourge actually brings both a reliable decreased speed debuff as well as freeze debuffs on all of his skills. And so your Karl the Scourge is another very, very high priority champion to bring along, for me at least, for countering 2 of the 5 bosses inside of Grim Forest. As for other decreased speed debuff champions, I don't really have that many other good options other than if I was to like bring along a Morrigan, like so, which I guess I'll do. She brings a speed aura in all battles as well, and so, you know, she's not the worst. At least she brings a decreased speed on her Air 1. Wait a minute though, where's Stagnite? Stagnite, oh my god, I've still got increased speed checked as well. I'm such a bloody idiot. Okay, so I probably don't have to bring along the Morrigan. I can probably bring along somebody a little bit better. Okay, tell you what, I'm going to take care of some healing by just throwing Archer Queen in. I guess maybe on like team number 2, we don't have a lot of healing on deck number 2. So we'll put in Archer Queen. She also does bring a decreased speed against bosses as well. We'll also bring along Feral, just because he's such an absolutely busted champion. And then it's time to make sure that we're bringing along enough freezes, which right now we aren't, right? The last couple roles I want to touch on really are going to be freeze champions as well as block buffs champions. Champions that can spam block buffs are going to be very, very important. Lady Noelle is a fantastic, fantastic option for this with 100% land rate block buffs debuff against bosses. Single target skill, you know, on her A1, which is bloody great. She can also freeze enemies as well on a 310 cooldown on her A3. And so I think that she's going to be pretty bloody good to bring along too. I'm also going to bring along Creodan as another increased speed buffer, which, you know what, I'm going to put him on the second deck because I think we have much fewer increased speed buffer champions over there. So that gives us our final role, which is going to be block buffs champions. And hopefully you're taking care of just a decent amount of healing just almost accidentally as well throughout these team drafts, like certain support champions that bring increased speed also bring good amounts of healing and stuff like that. So make sure that you've got an okay amount of healing here. But we've got a block buffs here and here with the Feral and the Noelle, as well as from the Warmaster. Block buffs is going to be key against 1 or 2 of the bosses also. So, and we've also got Uugo over here that's also bringing the block buffs. We're lacking a big load of block buffs over on the right side of the table over here though. And so I'm going to go ahead and lock in. Of course, you know her, you love her. I can't find the debuff, the debuff icon. There it is. We're going to get the Uugo locked in over here. And so I'm just going to pop in above my head just now all of the roles that I've focused on covering in this draft so far, right? The 3 or 4 at the top are going to be the most key roles that I highly, highly recommend that you prioritize picking first, and then work your way down the list and grab all of the other roles sort of as you go. Then what I'm going to do with the final couple picks, the final 2 or 3 picks, I'm just going to pick any kind of busted champions that I've got that for whatever reason I just haven't picked yet, you know. I can throw a Wixwell in here, amazing shields, big decrease attack, great against waves, you know. I can also think about, you can also think about here just stuffing any old mythical champions into the team as well. You might also come to regret some of your picks a little bit. For example, I'm looking at Stock the Broken right here, and I'm thinking to myself, maybe I'd prefer a Mad Hatter over here just for a bit more healing. I feel like I've got enough speed auras that I'm not going to worry about that too much in most of the battles. And I tell you what, I think my final pick, it's probably going to be the Nishak. Maybe? Yeah, I guess we just lock in the Nishak. It's either that or the Odin. I don't know how I feel about this. You know what? I feel like I've got enough damage. I'm going to go ahead and lock in the Odin. It's just a god tier wave controller, and his unkillable buff and block damage buff could actually be very, very valuable, as well as his max HP damage against some bosses is actually quite useful. So I think this is the deck I'm going to go ahead and lock in. Once confirmed, this will be your squad for this Grim Forest rotation. You can change up to 5 champions using specific resources found in the Grim Forest. I think we are good to rock and roll. All right, Abada. All right. We're ready to begin. Oh my goodness. The map in this place is absolutely huge, dude. It's enormous. Which way am I going to go first? Well, you know what? I've always had a good feeling about the Northeast. The Northeast is great. Let's go ahead and just head in this general direction and see what's up here. Let's head towards one of our first bosses and just see what we can do. Okay, yep. There's an ambush waiting for us. Okay, never mind. No, there isn't. We're just going to go ahead and claim a whole bunch of stuff. And then we get to take on our first boss. Let's draw some champions and see what we can pull from here. So we're still in the easier stages of Grim Forest right now, so we have a lot of stuff to pick from. Thankfully, because we drafted smartly, I get to go ahead and lock in a speed or a lead, either Uugo or Glycad. So you know what? I think we're going to go ahead and... Oh, wait, what? Oh, okay, I'm just going to confirm. Okay, so I can either redraw or I can... pick from what we've got. I think we're going to be fine. Glycad Estrid is going to give us no problems at all. I can also throw in Wave Control with Estrid, and then it's just Damage Dealer plus maybe Decreased Defense. Yeah, it is just one big damage, because we drafted our damage dealers with a little bit of precision. We were able to pick damage dealers that are pretty good into both waves and bosses, so just one damage dealer per team. That's all we really need, you know, to take on these waves. So smack the crap out of these waves and see how we do against the boss. The waves should really be no problem at all, given the amount of wave control that we've got here. So let's see how we actually do against the boss, man. The waves are really no issue for us at all. We got, oh my god, man, Tholin hits like an absolute truck. I know this is one of the earlier bosses, but god dog. But you can see the boss has a whole bunch of minions. Again, this is why having like good wave clear nukers and damage dealers drafted in your team is going to be crucially important for you as well. And so, yeah, first boss down. This is what my team deck page looks like. The roles I covered in this video are the roles that I recommend that you build as well, so that you're ready for every eventuality going into Grim Forest. Very excited for this game mode. Oh my goodness, man. I'm going to make all kinds of extra videos covering potential champions and just MVP champions that you might want to bring along in your Grim Forest deck. Probably tomorrow that'll be going up. You know, I'll try and get it out as quickly as I possibly can. For now, thanks for stopping by. If you're looking to create a new Raid Shadow Legends account, man, make sure to get that done right now by using the beginner promo link that's down below this video at the top of the description box, and use that link to create a new Raid account for all of the free stuff that you see on screen right now. Good luck in the Grim Forest. Hopefully this video was somewhat helpful, and I'm going to catch all of you guys just a tad bit later, man.